y'all have Uranus. Genius. I mean, woo! That is one hell of a card to get. And considering that Uranus is in Taurus, this could have to do with a lot of the changing of norms, changing of what we believe of as of value. But Uranus is a card. Well, Uranus actually is the planet is a ruling planet of Aquarius. So if you all know what Aquarians are like, you know they are the future. So Uranus is the future. Okay, actually, Uranus, I believe, is one of Saturn's children, I believe, and so this one is the one that got away before he could get eaten, I believe. Don't quote me on this, but what I do know is that this energy is such a young energy. But I believe that Uranus is also very old. So how Uranus operates is by basically changing the rules, presenting us with spontaneous events, spontaneous things come up, unexpected. Basically, Uranus is not predictable. You cannot predict what Uranus ever does, and if you do, Uranus will be like, "Yeah, okay, that's not happening either." So he's like, so that's why I would say when you have something going on with Uranus, or if there's anything with Uranus, period, do not try to predict what he's trying to do. Mainly because if you think that it was going to go that way, it's not going to now. Even if you think it, he's going to know that you thought it and he's going to change it. So whatever you think the Uranus is going to do is never going to do it because he is the innovation of the future. But what makes him the rule breaker, the rebellion, the father planet to the sign Aquarius, the rebellions? Well, simple. Uranus is excellent at breaking the rules, excellent at making successful and some impactful changes in society and life, mainly because they already know the rules. Because they learn the rules and they do everything they can to understand what the construct is, and then they break it down piece by piece. So, what unexpected and unpredictable events are happening in your life where a structure from the ground up is being destroyed? And partially, too, I like to ask, too, what part of crazy have you tapped into? Have you tapped into an element of yourself that you didn't think existed? A part of you that you may not have noticed, but is actually something that has such it brings an enriching experience to your life that you want to keep it? So, you guys are coming up with the Seven of Pentacles. Like it, with the Page of Pentacles. So, perhaps it's something that was presented to you, or something that you were started on, and something small, something not so serious, or maybe it was pretty serious, but you were taking your time with it, and it required a little bit of tedious and boring work. But now, at this point, it's grown to be something magnificent, or grown to be something more than it was. It was a little tiny seed before, and now you're at this point where it's growing and it's doing its thing on its own, and it doesn't really need as much help and effort as it used to when it was only a small seed. Of course, though, understandably, you're in a slump, perhaps, where you used to put out all the work, used to do all this extra stuff, is now the plant or the thing that you're trying to manifest or grow is no longer needed. So now it's about what areas do you need to focus on now? What areas do you need to focus on now? And I have a lot. Something tells me it has to do with communication. Let's just be real. It has to do with some communication. It has to do with maybe things moving faster or things picking up. Something isn't moving very fast. Now, Uranus is a very fast energy too. And I know that planet takes about 8 to 10 years to go through each sign. But Mercury, other than Mercury being the fastest, Uranus is actually quite fast as well. One of the faster, bigger planets, if you think about it. Because Jupiter, well, not faster, because actually Saturn takes 3 years to go through a planet. Jupiter is 1.5. So Uranus is fast in its own right. Not necessarily going through the planets, Pluto being the longest, but Uranus is quick in its own way, its own right. Interestingly, though, this Eight of Wands is about going with the flow. There's a situation moving very quickly and just going with it. There's no obstruction. Everything's quite clear. Everything's quite in front of you and right where it needs to be. But what's conjuncting it, or excuse me, what's crossing it is the Fool. Now, to me, when the Fool comes up, this would talk about a brand new beginning, some brand new journey, something that would require one to let go of an old way of being and completely be present for a situation, be present in the moment. Right? It's being in the moment. And this could also suggest taking risks. doing something that is risky. Like, for instance, he's so close to the edge, and his buddy, his little doggy pal there, is saying, "Hey, look, man, you need to be careful." But he's like, "Well, I'm being and expressing. I'm enjoying the sun. The world looks beautiful up here." He's not conscientious of there being any danger because he doesn't know of the danger. It's about completely being ignorant. And it's not like a bad ignorant, because his ignorance will soon make him to be a very, very wise man. But this is a sense of ignorance. It's about letting go of what you believe you know and experiencing so you can know. And I feel like with the Eight of Wands coming up, things are moving very fast, that it makes you, it either makes someone feel anxious, or the situation is suggesting that there is this feeling or this desire to just express and to be and to take risks and make mistakes and be okay with that. It's very interesting. So moving on to your past energy, because we're going to come back to this. There's so much more to this, but I'm getting in my way right now. I'm not totally seeing the true message behind the Fool yet, but I am going to see it if we continue to move. So let's continue to move forward with this reading. The past energy would suggest the Queen of Pentacles, independence, self-sustainability. You guys definitely are the representation of this right now, because I feel like some of you guys have gone through enough stuff in your life that would suggest that you've learned what you need to learn to be your own home, your own parent, your own sustainability, your own sustainable resource. You are a resource for yourself. But this isn't also just kind of go away or remove the fact that you've also provided home and safety and security for people in need as well, or your children. So for those of you that have children, you show that you're a disciplinary person. You're someone that has structure and routine, that is stable enough to have children of your own, and you're doing the best that you can with what you got. You also know what is of value to you. You know what your boundaries are. You know who you need as a person for yourself, because you are that way for you. Queen of Pentacles doesn't look for anyone other than herself to give her what she needs, which is why manifesting the perfect partner, which is the King of Pentacles, who happens to be in your present, by the way, this is no problem. This is no brainer. This is going to happen regardless, because she carries herself in such a way. So you've carried yourself in such a way that brought about a person that is financially stable, that's willing to give, that's very generous with their time and their money and their energy. But the thing is that this individual is very practical in how they move forward, and they're very, very career focused. They can be very career focused, but they also may miss some things, like, for instance, emotions, or understanding that emotion does have a factor to things. So the King of Pentacles is not necessarily the most intuitive to the feeling aspect, but he's really good at the maintaining, the sustainability, the comfort, the reliability, and the consistency of things. Very good at being consistent. And this is someone that you've attracted. You've attracted this by you being that way yourself. Not saying that you've ignored your emotions, but you've definitely applied for yourself a security or a sense of stability for yourself. And this is what brought you this individual here. Now, this person may have found you or sought you out, but a really beautiful and well-blossomed relationship is brewing here. But the Fool is what's crossing this energy. The thing that the King of Pentacles is not is ignorant. But I do feel that this King of Pentacles could be learning something new, or you could be learning something new with the King of Pentacles. This could have to do with just being, with just expressing, with expressing a feeling or an emotion. The Eight of Wands can indicate communication, but communication in the sense of something moving very fast between social media. But I feel like with a Fool, sometimes especially can suggest travel and suggest journeys. And the King of Pentacles is quite a local man. He happens to like being at home. He doesn't really like to leave anywhere or go anywhere that's unfamiliar. And the situation I'm getting with the Fool that I wasn't seeing before, because I was so focused on what these two cards were meaning, was that there is a sense of comfort and stability that almost, not completely, but almost strips away the feeling of doing something that requires bravery, which is tapping into, going into a world where you don't have a lot of the information. The King of Pentacles is successful and great at what he does based off of the routine and already the errors and stuff that he's already figured out and tweaked to the point where it's at a perfected flow. So he's consistent. He's there all the time. He's always there, prompt and punctual. But it's through his consistency that he seeks and he reaps benefits of benefits and abundance. But there's something new coming in. There's something new, and I feel like it's about it has to do with either traveling or leaving something behind, leaving the norm behind. Whatever this person's built, whatever you've built, it's I think you guys are going in a totally new journey. Now, let me actually correct myself, actually, because the King and Queen of Pentacles don't actually fear something new. And the reason why they don't fear anything new or they're resistant toward it mainly is because, of course, like I said, the consistency of it. They know what they know because they do it all the time. And their consistency is what reigns supreme. They were more apt to not do anything outside of their element of consistency, but they will adapt to it and use that to their advantage. They'll use whatever they don't know and become efficient in it, understand it to the intimacy that it could possibly get to, and then move on. That's what makes them so independent. And the thing too is that situations happen all the time. For instance, the changes in seasons happen all the time. It doesn't ever go away. So of course they have to account for the changes that come in, and they have a strategy for that. They have a routine for that. And I feel like the King and Queen of Pentacles are really good when it comes to different things or new things being introduced, because this will take the time for them to understand it, to process it, and truly find a practical and useful solution for it. So if this is moving to a different space, they have their money or their power, their patience, their diligence to be able to transform whatever they want to manifest into that, but it will take time. I think the only issue is that it's going to be slow. It doesn't happen very fast. So for some of you guys, you may be developing a very strong and potent relationship with this person, but the progress in which being moved forward this is new territory for everyone. So if you've been so solely reliant on yourself and you've been just kind of taking care of yourself for a while, this person's learning how to bring someone new into their life too. They may not be experts in having a person involved, because if you see in the future, right, the Ten of Cups suggests this is happiness lived with another person, with other people, having and sharing the feeling of happiness with others. And I feel like the new territory is, and the fact that these two are so different in timing as well, is that everyone is learning how to adapt to the relationship, to adapt to working together. This is something new. And I don't think that they expected this kind of connection to happen. Right? When you're living your life, when you're doing the best that you can, time flies. And of course, then a new opportunity comes in and you don't know what to do with it. It doesn't mean that you don't move forward and experience it. And I don't think this means that you guys aren't moving forward or experiencing it. But I think you're noticing that there's a new journey that's come in the meantime, while you're trying to perfect it and do the best that you can with what your personal life has to show for it. You're also being introduced a new chapter in your life that does come from a place of not quite understanding something thoroughly, but gives you the opportunity to, as long as there's an open mind. But of course, what I see is that the Fool has baggage. The Fool already has gone through something, but he's still open-minded. It's quite amazing for someone that has things or is carrying things because they expect something, right? They expect, obviously, to probably eat, to need some things to get them through their thing. They have all the tools that they need to be able to go on a journey without having to have to expect for anything other than things that are routine and constant. But they're open-minded to the world. I feel like for a lot of you guys, especially with this Fool being crossed like this, that you guys have some baggage. You guys have some things that you know to keep on your shoulder at all times. And how to use these toolbars, to use these tools here, rather, to use these tools to eat this food, you have a structure already built in, already kind of connected to you. It may need to be adjusted sometimes or maybe tweaked, but you know that you'll need these things. You know that these things are a factor. However, it's about how these apply, which is something that you will be open to adjusting to as you move forward with this journey. Things are moving on and moving very quickly, and I feel like for a lot of you, for you and this person coming up as pentacles like this, it's a bit of a it's kind of like, whoa, hold on a second, this is kind of crazy, because King of Pentacles and Queen of Pentacles, King of Pentacles and Queen of Pentacles, they're very slow. Just to be straight up, they're slower energies. They're slower individuals because they know the precision in which slowness can provide. And although you're taking your time and being as precise as you can and being as attention oriented as you can be, things are also moving very quickly at the same time, which may be throwing you off guard, which makes you feel like you're in a place where you don't know and it's not necessarily as secure as you like to be. The Fool is not secure, but he is. He's secure in his knowledge of what he knows he needs, and he's aware of what he needs. So always account for those. He's good. He's good. He don't need to be stable in the sense of constant routine and things being consistent. He just needs to attend his needs, which what King of Pentacles and the Queen of Pentacles are excellent at doing, because they're aware of what things need a pattern in a constant routine. But I feel like both parties here may be new to a situation. Both parties are new to a situation. It may be communication, when to talk about something, when to go about doing something, or when to take action, when to move forward. Because I feel like there's it's a totally brand new flow when it comes to relationships. And I feel like too, if you've been doing something alone for a long time, you may be like completely surprised at how fast something can move when you have a partner. Because of course you can move as fast as you can. You're moving as fast as you can with what you know. Of course, because you're doing the best that you can with what you know, and that takes time. But when you have another person involved, things accelerate. Teamwork makes the dream work faster. So of course, when it comes to the Ten of Cups, you both want to be happy together, and it's approaching quite fast. And you can do this together, but it's something to learn how to work together. So your advice comes up with the Six of Swords. And I actually don't mind the Six of Swords here, because the Six of Swords would suggest moving in a direction together. Because look at the people that are on the boat. It's not just one person paddling away with all the swords. There's a child involved, and then there's another person. And they're going towards something new, but they're leaving behind something old. So they're not necessarily rejecting the teachings of the past, because obviously they're going to create a new world without repeating the same stuff that they did before. Again, not saying that what they did before was bad, but they always have this in the back of their mind as where they come from, who they are, or what has pushed them to do or to go in a new direction. But they are taking the lessons of which they've gone through with them, as you see with the Six Swords in front of them. That perspective, this understanding, is what they're taking with them. They're not taking any other baggage. They're not taking any things. They're not taking any products. They're not taking nothing. They're taking themselves, and they're taking what they know, and they're moving forward. You and this person are suggesting that there is a know-how. You already know how to be. You already know what to do. But it's about working together and using that towards your future. What you know can be applied. Can be very much applied. So the advice is almost is going almost along the same lines as the Eight of Wands. If you notice too, they're kind of going in the same direction, but one is going up a little bit and one's going down. But they're all going in the same direction, the same flow. They're going this way. It's about finding the harmony between you and this individual and going with the flow. If any snags come up, you will assess it, just like the Fool. Any situations come up, you assess it as the Fool. There's not much you can do to preemptively prepare for something like this to happen. And if there's nothing to do, perhaps there's nothing to do, and it's okay to just be until there's something to do, which would be a problem or situation that you both can handle and work out together. So Uranus is saying the crazy will happen, but the crazy isn't happening now, so don't worry about it. Everything's moving as it should. And if there is a snag or there's just something for both of you to learn, you will learn it.